Life a Recipe, which is a local food blog that also offers travel guidance and foodies in mind. Some background about Brian, or Keno, as he's also known as. He's English born, he's a bread foodie, cook and traveler who's been living in Singapore for about 16 years, and he fully enjoys our culture and, of course, our food.
16 years. Wow, okay.
He's a local.
And yes, you might remember him as the only Caucasian participant on MasterChef in Singapore, MasterChef Singapore Season 3. Welcome to the show, Brian. Hello, thanks for being here.
Good evening. Good evening, Lance and Daniel. I love the fact that you said Caucasian there, because that was actually my strap line that the production crew gave me. I had to say continuously, I put the Asian in Caucasian.
Is that right?
which I thought was hysterical. Yeah.
We don't give you your secret membership card until you can use la properly, you realize, right? So can you use la properly in the appropriate terms?
Yeah, shop la, when we're talking about food. So,
Justin Mustard, better. Welcome aboard. We love talking food, and but I'm curious, how did it evolve from somebody who loves food and was a foodie like you to becoming like a foodie content creator?
The actual blog started for another reason, actually, which was kind of like a pressure release. Something kind of nasty happened in my life, and it was recommended to start writing. And that writing then started to talk about, how the family was, what we were doing, where we were going, what holidays, and then evolved into, kind of food that we were experiencing in the countries where we were on vacation and the like. And then someone went, "This is actually pretty good. Why don't you actually start to do reviews?" I'm like, "Really?" I've never written before in my life, and it kind of evolved, right? And then bit by bit, we started to get more kind of people reading and interacting with said content, and it really evolved into what it is today. We've even got embassies asking us now to actually create content on their behalf overseas and in Singapore. So it's quite fascinating how it's kind of evolved from what it was 14, 15 years ago to now. Yeah.
What was the background? Were you in media and journalism and in writing, or was this all brand new?
No, absolutely not. I'm like probably the least academic person on the planet, right? So, no, writing's evolved through this, literally through the blog, and the passion for writing as well has come from exactly that. I mean, cooking's always been there, but writing about it, no, not in a million years until I started the blog. And my friend recently has sort of joined me, Spencer. So he's kind of helping me now take it to that kind of next evolution, if you like, of exposure to the world. So, doing things like, changing the spelling of flavor, lose the U, without the U becomes American. Hey presto, we might get an American audience type thing. So it's fascinating. So now it's actually even got data science built into the thing, which is crazy.
And really irritating, because the U should always be present. Sorry, Americans, get used to it.
I know, right? I know.
Hey, Brian, I'm curious about your blog name. Is Life a Recipe? It should be, right?
How honest do I be, right? So sadly, I lost my first wife when we first moved to Singapore. So that's the rationale and the reason behind where it came from. So is life a recipe? It was all about, sometimes eggs get broken. There still is a recipe there, right? And I had kids. We just moved to Singapore, 6 months in type thing. It was like, wow, what do we do? So it really was that, and it was looking at the various ingredients that go into your life. And that's where the name came from. Yeah. So, and as I say, it's kind of evolved now into this much more, not so maudling, into, I think, what's much more positive. We still talk about, what we do with the family and how we have fun, and when we go on vacation, the food we have, the fun we have. So, yeah, it's evolved.
That's lovely that it has evolved into such a positive thing the way it is now. And speaking of positive things, a lot of us familiar with you after your experience on MasterChef Singapore Season 3. How was that like? When you look back on it, what's the key takeaway for you from that?
Oh, man. It was great fun.
I was afraid you're going to say never again.
No, I tell you what, I probably would do it again. I mean, it was such good fun. It was amazing to be sat aside I got down to 13 or 14, I suppose, whichever, but 4,500 people applied or something. So super proud. And super proud to be, as you asked me about Singaporean, right? So the only Angmo ever. Right, you're on season 4, still the only Angmo ever on the show. So, and I was quite proud that I tried to do local dishes on there. The last one I did was Malaysian lemak, very local. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I thought I did okay, but I couldn't compete against some of those guys that were on there that were doing the most amazing local dishes. Could not.
Okay.
And that was a self-realization, but so proud to be part of it.
Did you make any friends on MasterChef as well?
Well,
Yeah,
maybe.
not so much business partners, but we still sort of stayed in contact. So it was great, but from all walks of life. It was quite amazing. So the show kind of brought us together, which was awesome.
So let's talk about the thing that brings everyone together, which is food.
Yeah.
We want some recommendations. It's Friday. It's the weekend right around the corner. Ryan, we could love some advice in terms of maybe some great affordable places that you've eaten at recently that we should check out.
Oh, crikey. So recently, but there's some favourites, right? So 16 years favourites. So to give you some like Zhichar, I'm saying that really badly. How should I say that? Is it
So
Zhichar?
I think we're asking the wrong people. Lance and myself are non-native Mandarin speakers as well, but Chicha.
Right. Okay, there we go. So close enough, right? You know what it was. But yeah, I'm an East Coaster, right? So I live in Siglap, lived here for last 10 years or so. Sin Hoi Eating House.
You're
East
the
Coast
second person to talk about it. A couple of weeks ago, there was a dude that came on who talked about the carrot cake there. What are you going to recommend?
Oh my gosh, definitely the barbecued pork ribs. They serve it on these banana leaves, so they kind of cook up banana leaves. Comes with a little calamansi. Oh my goodness gracious me, that thing is heavenly. Every time we go there, and we probably go there 2-3 times a month. Yeah, that's a family favourite. It's super reasonable, unless you buy chili crab, then it gets a little bit.
All right, so tell us when it comes to the price point. You said it's fairly reasonable. What is that?
So we will, if we don't have crab, we all know that crab's going through the roof at the moment for the price, right? But if we have a normal family meal, there's normally about 5 or 6 of us that will attend there, under $200. So super reasonable. My personal view, if we're going to go the other way, then we're going to go to somewhere like East Coast Lagoon, and then have obviously individual dishes.
I'm going to start an episode on this show.
Go on.
Where it's going to be the East versus the West.
Seen our kids.
East versus the West. Because you've just picked 2 places in the East. And it's great. Butter food's great.
Yeah.
I've been to the Butter seafood, the East Coast Park Hawker Center as well. But I think the people who love the food in the East just don't go anywhere else. That's
Brian.
the problem.
Brian, say something good about food in Jurong or something.
To the West, come.
Sorry.
Oh, he's gone quiet.
Anything in the West.
No. Yeah. No, so there's lots in the West, but I was just saying, I actually kind of need to have a passport to go that far across the island.
You don't. It's 20 minutes. Singapore's small.
Yeah. No, so there's some great ones over there. I don't know if you guys have been to places like Coal Bar. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's not very far from where we are.
Yeah, I go back.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome, right? And we go to Timbra or Tambra.
Timber.
Yeah, it's, again, amazing variety, live music, superb. There's some amazing. So my wife's Filipino, so there's been some incredible Filipino food there as well.
I've never tried Filipino food.
No, you have to be kidding.
But they're in the
me.
hawker centers now, aren't they? It's quite easy to find.
Yeah, there's a brilliant one in La Passat, right in the city. Obviously up towards Orchard Road around Lucky Plaza. Lots in there.
And what would you recommend?
Oh, my absolute favourite is Sissy. It's incredible. So it's basically every part of the pig's face on a sizzling platter, chili, lime. They crack an egg on top and then you kind of mix it together. It's off the charts. That's the dish you have to try if you go to a Filipino restaurant. Absolutely.
Oh,
incredible.
Very interesting. Hey, before we let you go, any breakfast recommendations? Because people love to go and eat their brunches on Saturday and Sundays.
Yeah, brunches, well, it kind of depends again on the price point, right? I mean, you can go to the hotel. So we, if you're going to do a special occasion, we'll pop along to something like probably Pan Pacific or something like Edge. But it's punchy, it's got the free flow champagnes and all that kind of stuff. If we're going to go more lower end, I'm going to go East Coast again. One of our family favourites is the winery here. 2 hours all you can eat, kind of Spanish, Japanese tapas, $48. I mean, that's pretty damn good, right? And the pace of service is excellent. So yeah, you can quaff a lot of food in that 2 hours because they do not stop the speed of service. It's incredible, and it's brilliant food as well. So Spanish for me at the moment is a big is a big package.
Well, Spanish, Filipino. I'm sensing a trend that you're enjoying, Brian. Hey, thanks to Brian Kennett, founder of Is Life a Recipe. Lance Alexander, food in the East better or the West better?
Oh, I'll take Central.
Cop out.
What a cop out. What a cop out. Hey,
West
Brian,
for me.
thanks for coming on the show. It is 7:23. We want to talk about another big story, recent